Hello, I'm LaDonna Boyd, fifth generation president CEO of R.H. Boyd Publishing Corporation. This company was founded in 1896 by my great-great-grandfather, Dr. Richard Henry Boyd, and since then we've carried on the legacy of telling the narrative of the African American experience. Our family of companies focuses on producing and providing the highest quality of Christian, inspirational, historic, educational, and cultural literature, merchandise, and services. We want to focus on telling the narrative of the African American experience, and we want to challenge our listeners and our readers to make sure that they're asking the hard questions. So what is their relationship with faith? How do they take their faith into their daily lives? What does that look like in your career, in your education, in your cultural surroundings, in your relationship with your family and friends? And what can R.H. Boyd do to, again, further the issues that impact our community? My great-great-grandfather, Richard Henry Boyd, was born enslaved in Mississippi in 1843. After he gained his freedom, he was able to learn how to read and write, and he was able to pursue his dream of giving people the opportunity to have their own voices heard. He founded our company to give a voice to the voiceless. He wanted to provide newly freed African Americans with the opportunity to have their own voices heard and to tell their own stories in the context of faith. And that's something that we continue to pursue to this day. Through our family of companies, we provide curriculum titles for all ages, music resources including our best-selling hymnal, author services through R.H. Boyd Publishing Corporation as well as Torchbearer Press. We also provide commercial printing opportunities, and our Vision Conference is a leading event that focuses on Christian education, civic engagement, scholarship competitions, women's ministry, and a lineup of internationally known speakers and entertainers. More than 100 years later, we still take great pride in being storytellers, and we want to encourage our community to be modern-day griots and find value in their own stories. We also want to encourage conversations as well as having clear and strategic vision by providing useful resources. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining R.H. Boyd today as we host this stop on the Digital Financial Revolution Tour. We are so excited to have you here today and to engage in this much-needed conversation. As you heard on the video, R.H. Boyd is 125 years old, and my great-great-grandfather took great pride in making sure that he provided resources for all in the community. I'm LaDonna Boyd, fifth-generation president CEO, and it's not very many Black businesses that are able to say that, so we certainly take great pride. Well, thank you. We certainly are honored to be able to say that. We wouldn't be here without the support of people like you. So again, from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. I hope that you enjoy this evening's program and ask all the questions. We want to make sure that everyone leaves with a clear understanding of ways to build wealth, especially in the Black community. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and kick off the program, and I'm bringing up Kwesi. Thank you.
Peace. How you guys doing? Peace. How you doing? We're not at a homegoing or a passing. We are at a publishing company about words, about life, about life. So thank you all for sharing something with us that you will never get back in your life. You could be anywhere in Nashville on a Wednesday evening, but you chose to be here with us. So we share our sincere gratitude. Harper will be joining us via Zoom at 5:45 p.m. We are 27 markets in on a 34 market tour, with Nashville being our 27th stop. So we've had some trials and tribulations on the way, but I believe I could walk on water, so I just walk on water despite those adversities. My name is Kwesi Goharo. I'm the brand strategist and tour manager for Harper's and Naja Roberts, the Black Wall Street Digital Financial Revolution National Charitable Tour. Yes. This is digital, so I'm going to ask you to pull out your phones, please. Go to theblackwallstreet.com, theblackwallstreet.com, and join the community, join the movement. Put your email address in, and you are officially a part. The digital wallet will drop May 31st, 100 years to the date and time that the angry mob bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, the Black Wall Street district, killing hundreds of people. He'll call it the Black Wall Street because he said no one ever will destroy, bomb, burn our wealth once it's built again. hence the Black Wall Street. In this digital space, it will never be destroyed. So with that being said, I'm gonna get right into the Crypto Kids Camp Performer. Yes, okay. I'll get into that, and then I'll bring up a couple unique guest speakers. This person I'm gonna bring up, he's very dear to me. He's my son. He's been acting since he's been 4 years of age. He did a commercial in 2019 with Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, prior to his passing, called Don't Retire Your Kid. It won 4 Clio Awards. The Clio Awards are like in advertising what the Oscars and Emmys are to TV and film. The first time a Black boy has been received such accolades. The commercial received over 4.8 billion in social media impressions. Hashtag Don't Retire Kid. Let's give a nice warm RH boy welcome to my son, Navon Love, as he does his rendition of Arduous, his single, High Fashion.
Please, round of applause for the very talented Navon Love.
Make the audience copy on no applause. High fashion on the schoolyard. Riding my bike to the backyard. I get you ice cream cause I got a warm heart. I know I'm in LA, but I'm from Chicago. I can pop walk on the dance floor. Yeah, ooh. I've been putting in the work since I was 4. If I'm making a trend, I better stay. It'll go from China to the Bay. I got games, so you know I wanna play. I'm working on my craft every day. I was at the bottom, they got Project Play. But when I put the commercial, it wasn't play. I got 10 million views, that's not play. You tryna play, but I gotta go. I know I'ma give me the show. I wake up to the sunrise, up for more. Inside gaming, I got a feeling I share it from my heart. The beginning to my end is my start. I shine the brightest when I'm in the dark. I smell inspired, but I give it the extra spark. Make the audience copy on no applause. High fashion on the schoolyard. Riding my bike to the backyard. I get you ice cream cause I got a warm heart. I'm in Nashville, but I'm from Chicago. I get pop walk on the dance floor. Yeah, whoa. I've been putting in the work since I was 4. If I make a new trend, I better stay. It'll go from China to the Bay. I got games, so you know I wanna play. I'm working on my craft every day. I was at the bottom, they got Project Play. But when I put the commercial, it wasn't play. I got 10 million views, that's not play. Had so many callbacks, my finally books won't beat it after work, just never done this like a running gun. On the weekend mornings, I be wildin'. When I don't know what to wear, my clothes be poundin'. To stop the fight, and I pull up to the NYC. And I share my soul cause I can't hide it all. I'ma buy a Benzo. I spool like MJ in the dip, so I'm working hard to get my own show. Can't stop the only no applause. Oh. I get you ice cream cause I got a warm heart. I know I'm in Nashville, but I'm from Chicago. I can pop walk on the dance floor. Yeah, whoa. I've been putting in the work since. Make the audience copy on no applause. High fashion on the schoolyard. Riding my bike to the backyard. I get you ice cream cause I got a warm heart. I know I'm in LA, but I'm from Chicago. I can pop walk on the dance floor. Yeah, whoa. I've been putting in the work since I was 4. If I'm making a trend, I better stay. It'll go from China to the Bay. I got games, so you know I wanna play. I'm working on my craft every day. I was at the bottom, they got Project Play. But when I put the commercial, it wasn't play. I got 10 million views, that's not play. Any questions?
Yeah. One love for Navon Love. You can follow him on Instagram at Navon Love, Navone. Love. Have your children follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Navon Love. The other thing that I do is I am a poet. And as I was trying to find my voice in that art form, a mentor of mine shared with me that, Quasi, you remind me of Gil Scott-Heron. And at the time when I was finding my voice, I didn't know who Gil Scott-Heron was. I became a poet due to the fact that my younger brother was killed I wrote, met, and forgave the two men who shot and killed my brother to make peace with them. And finding my voice when I did research on Gil Scott-Heron, as you know, in the 70s, he did a piece entitled, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." So in my debut book, in a tribute to Gil Scott-Heron, I did a piece entitled, "The Revolution Will Be Televised." You know, everything that was happening back in the 90s with Rodney King beating and things of that nature. So when I met with Naja a month and a half ago, one of the first things that she said to me was, Casey, that the revolution would be digitized. So in a tribute and a revitalization of my piece, "The Revolution Will Be Televised," this piece is a tribute to Gil Scott-Heron and also to the icon that Miss Naja Robert is becoming in this cryptocurrency space. The revolution will be digitized. The revolution will be digitized because the revolution will be digitized because the revolution will be digitized because my eyes realize and recognize the lies in the truthful disguise. The revolution will be digitized. You will be able to stay home, my sisters and brothers, because of quarantine. But don't worry, you have social media, so you will be heard, you will be seen. You will be able to plug on and turn out. You will be able to lose yourself on Skag, skip out on commercial break, but there'll be no commercial break because you watch all of your content on digital devices. We all have devices with your bottle service of distilled spirits because you ain't trying to hear it, but your eyes will realize and recognize the revolution will be digitized. The revolution is being digitized from Dunlap Robert to Naja Roberts, from George Floyd to Dr. LaDonna Boyd, from Darnella Frazier to Greta Thunberg to Amanda Gorman. I'll be the foreman because I'm gambling for my mental state. I went to Central State. The revolution will be digitized. From IG, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Ebony the fan base. In college, they call me Rob Base. To Facebook Live, because I'll be live on ABC, CBS, Fox, WGN, CNN to BCN without no commercial interruptions because they show all corruptions. The revolution will be digitized with no content deductions on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, the prime time, ESPN, I got your plus because minus Stephen A, you have no plus. The revolution will be digitized. The revolution will show you pictures of 4 years from the worst president in American history. Know the past and the present. We must write our history. The revolution will show you pictures of Kanye West on Forbes billionaire list, but we from Chi-Town, Southside, and Hollywood, we always on the list. The revolution will continue to show you pictures of Hollywood is still ill, so white. They need the good doctor, but we write the Emmy goes to Zendaya, to the Golden Globe of Andre Day, because every day it is the United States versus Billie Holiday for black people. White people, as white liberals and white supremacists, still want to hang strange fruit. These words bear my fruit, because ain't no actor in real life, and the Oscar goes to Daniel Coulier. Fred Hampton was about that life. Are you the Judas to our black messiah from Nashville, Oaktown, and Chi-Town? We no longer can lie down. Our eyes must realize and recognize the lies and the truth disguised. The revolution will be digitized. The revolution will give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will get rid of the nub. The revolution will make you fat from being weak because y'all eat red meat from them unhealthy burger joints. The revolution will be digitized from Easter egg because these times have me feeling so insecure. To Snowfall by John Singleton. So don't be a baby boy and think with your mind, eyes, and realize the revolution is being digitized. From your life insurance to your driver's license, because lawmakers are writing the license to take it all digital. It is pivotal. You realize the revolution is being digitized, my brothers and sisters. There will be pictures of Kim Kardashian getting clemency for Alice Marie Johnson. There will be pictures of George Floyd being murder trial as the blue wall fall. There will be pictures of white people breaking glass and burning buildings, trying to give peaceful protests of Black Lives Matters a bad name, but we got game. There will be pictures of the police shooting Rashard Brooks in the back on instant replay. There will be pictures of the police shooting Rashard Brooks in the back on instant replay. There will be pictures of Floyd Mayweather trying to weather the trolls of 50 cents. Be careful what you place on social media. It will take your sense. The revolution will be The revolution will be digitized. Dear white people who want to be blackish, mixedish, go get grownish, being on lockdown got me going to the ATL, reminiscing about my 20s in the Shire. Because I'm an all-American who woke, but I dance. I dance in the snowstorm with Queen Sugar on Black Monday, going to the Lovecraft country for some P-Valley with sisters who are the real housewives of Atlanta for life. I accept Bob Love's Abishola trying to get a laugh from Keena, but I FaceTime my godfather in Harlem because the equalizer, because Hollywood needs the equalizer, because I have children, so I don't watch Schitt's Creek, because I got to check out Craig in the Creek to see their mind eyes realize the revolution will be digitized. There will be highlights on the 10 o'clock news of Tiffany Haddish winning a Grammy Award while filming Kids Say the Darnest Things, as she is the Black Misfit to Liberation Robert coming out that she's LGBTQ. I am a noob, not a Q, but I HBCU with this Nipsey hustle as the marathon continues. You will hear the song material by Lil Nas X. Can you solve the variable of X? I am DMX. From King Tut to X. As I walk in Satan's shoes and the blood on these red bottom shoes on the sole of my feet is from walking in systemic racism, institutional oppression, police brutality, poor housing and healthcare, and the financial inequities of America. Despite this, I walk in the valley of death in America to bring you into the sunlight, America. You will still hear the written words of Sonia Sanchez, Maya Angelou, Nika Giovanni, Gwendolyn Brooks, Kim Ranson, and Jessica Care Moore, because I care more to recognize the revolution is being digitized. The revolution will be right. The revolution will be right. The revolution will be right back after these messages about white tornadoes, white hurricanes, and yes, white people will be about the solution and the revolution. The revolution will go good with water to give that natural surge, but let me diverge. It was an angry white mob who did that insurrection on 01062021. If that was me, I would be the dead one on Capitol Hill. When the bill couldn't walk up to Capitol Hill, white supremacist men and women having a noose to hang other white men. I mean, evil beyond hate. We must stop Asian hate. We must stop black hate. We must stop brown hate. We must stop human hate. So let me unmask your eyes so you'll realize the revolution is being digitized. The revolution will fight germs. The revolution will fight germs. The revolution will fight germs to call bad breath. The revolution will put you in a four-wheel electric drive. The revolution will be live from Rageware to Good Morning Black News Channel. I channel the Bad Moon Rise in the primetime Juwan Howard. From my frat brother Ryan Smith, aka Deuce Baby, who just won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. From uptown to downtown, from the suburbs to the hood. From Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Patrick Holmes, Lamar Jackson, and yes, y'all, still a Tiger Woods. These spoken words are public enemy number one because knowledge reigns supreme over everyone, because I bring D-knowledge to the brains, making Reg E-gains, working on my cryptocurrency gains. To the millennial generation, listen to Drake and know thyself as I am with her, fighting for you, be true to you. The revolution is being digitized. From money to art, from the end to the start, from pop, reggae, hip hop, these spoken words won't stop like raindrops. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. Because my eyes realize and recognize the lies and the truth of the skies. The revolution will be digitized. 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 The revolution will be no reruns, my brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live. Yeah. And that piece is a tribute to the late Gil Scott-Heron, who was recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and also a tribute to the icon that Miss Naja Roberts is becoming. So with that, I'm going to get the conversation in crypto space going. But before I bring up Miss Naja Roberts, when you make the money, you need someone to help you facilitate that growth. So this gentleman is definitely an expert. He's a CPA. He worked for Warren Buffett. He's been on tour with us since Houston. Let's give a nice, warm RH boy welcome to CJ the Smart Guy. Yeah.
How you guys doing today? Okay, so my name is Charles J. Kelly. I'm a certified public accountant. I live in Houston, Texas, but my certification is based in California. I originally was working for Warren Buffett, a subsidiary called BNSF, where I was moving millions and millions and millions of dollars every single day, but I wasn't making that. And so I learned pretty much everything I need to learn now there, everything I learned there, from the financial accounting to the budgeting to how business structures are going to how to legally avoid paying taxes. I learned it all from there, left my job, created my own company. So I have my own tax firm now. I also have my own clothing line, my own podcast now. And so I was studying for my CPA. I was studying cryptocurrency and creating my businesses all at the same time. So I took a leap of faith and did one of these things. And then right around the bottom, cryptocurrency started taking off, business took off, and so now I'm on the way up. And so here I'm meeting with Naja Roberts. And so in this cryptocurrency space, one of the things that I saw was, as I was studying, I was seeing that this may be the future. And while I was studying, actually the very last couple months, cryptocurrency got onto the CPA exam. And so I was already ahead of the CPA exam in my studying. And so when you guys start making this money in this crypto space, there may be other CPAs who have been around a lot longer. There may be CPAs who are a lot more knowledgeable, especially in like real estate or nonprofits or things of that nature. But in this cryptocurrency space, most of them have no idea about any of this stuff whatsoever. Most of them are scared of it. And so somehow, some way, I've been able to lead the charge in this space. And so when Kwesi the poet was talking about Nipsey Hussle, I was working with him in Vector 90 over in Los Angeles, California. And through him, I read a book called Bitcoin in Black America by Isaiah Jackson. In the back, it had a directory, and that's how I wound up following Naja. And so now we've all pretty much come together, and we're going to all the different communities trying to educate people, because Joe Biden has now increased the amount of IRS workers. $80 billion has gone into additional audits, especially in this crypto space, the PPP and the EIDL. And so my job is to make sure our communities are safe, while at the same time not letting the IRS, take all their money. So I'm the guy who does that. And so far it's worked out pretty well for me. So if you guys need a CPA, which you probably will, your CPA that you might currently have may not be knowledgeable about this crypto space, but I can work with other CPAs as well. It's not just a one-off where I just have to do everything. It can be something where we jointly work, and that's how I prefer to work, especially for people who have like multiple asset classes. Like if you have real estate, you have land, you have nonprofits and all that. So that's where I fit in. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to text me at 909. Yeah, I'm from California. 909-697-0978. Once again, it's 909-697-0978. My full name is Charles J. Kelly, but you can also follow me on social media, whether Instagram, Twitter, or on Clubhouse at CJ the Smart Guy. I try to go on as much as possible and educate people on the tax consequences of this, because for the first time ever, on your 1040 tax return on the very first page, it asks, have you done any buying, selling, trading of any virtual currencies? Virtual currencies meaning cryptocurrencies. So it's my job to make sure that you guys are safe, but at the same time, not letting the IRS bully you. So CJ the Smart Guy, thank you guys. The number, 909-697-0978. And if you text me and let me know that you're from the R.H. Boyd event, then I'll make sure that it'll trigger my memory, because we've been going from place to place. So that'll help. Thank you.
CJ, the Smart Guy, on all of his social media platforms as well. Understand, we are accessible. This is not a one-off. This is just us planting a seed as we hit 33 markets in 39 days. If you're familiar with the next young lady I'm about to bring up, she's been in the cryptocurrency space introduced since 2013. She took it seriously in 2017. In 2018, she formed and founded her own business, Crypto Blockchain Plug. She is one of 3 business people in America with a Bitcoin exchange, a brick and mortar business. She's the only Black woman with such a space. She is the Michael Jordan and the Steph Curry in this space. She is brilliant at what she does. Every day, Monday through Friday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. your time, she hosts a crypto version hour on Clubhouse. She has over 35,000 followers. Any given time during her 2-hour show, she has 100 to 250,000 people inside her room. Again, she is the Michael Jordan, the Steph Curry of the cryptocurrency space. She believes and has embraced the spirit of Harriet Tubman in wanting to free our people from financial bondage. Let's give a nice, warm RH Boyd welcome to the lovely Miss Naja Roberts. Yeah.
Hello, R.H. Boyd. Can I grab this little sign real quick? I just wanted to take a second for R.H. Boyd to say thank you for these fabulous signs. We've been passing them out on the road. We have about 6 or 7 of these signs they made for us. They had them shipped. They've been on the road with us, and people absolutely love them. I've been hearing people say they're going to frame them. They've been asking for autographs on the back. And so to the Boyd family, thank you. We appreciate your support, and they are fabulous. And we'll be giving some out today too as well, because we have them for you. So just make sure you know that. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. It is an incredible day. I'm going to kind of do this a little different because we have Harper that's going to be speaking in just a few minutes. So we may start, then we'll stop because he's going to be coming on, and then we'll go back and kind of conclude, and then we'll have questions and answers. So any question that you need answered while we're here, not even just while we're here, but any question you have, we'll take those at the end. But we will make sure that anything that you need to understand, you understand before you leave the building today. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, why we are on tour is the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863. And at that particular time, when we were coming out of slavery, Black folks in America own less than 1% of the wealth in this country. And I stand here before you today as an ex-financial advisor telling you all that in 157 years, we as Black folks in America own less than 1% of the wealth. And how can that be when we have done so much to increase our situation? And so it was imperative that we get out on the road and that we do something different than we've done in our communities, and not just talk to the people and preach to the people, but really start to touch people, try to find out where we've been falling short, and really change the financial trajectory of our community. So we've been on the road now a little over, I think, 25 days straight. We're in a different city, and the sentiments are the exact same across the United States. We've got to do something. And before now, there have been nothing really we can do. And I'll explain why I say that as an ex-financial advisor, because as we take a look at my career and my husband's career and what I call the old money space, we got involved in that space to really affect change in our community. But the more we took a look at all the things that are in place for our community, there seemed to be a big differential from what was being offered in our community as to what's being offered in other communities. And then even those products that maybe didn't even have those aspects, when we got to a certain part, there were some things that were systematically in place to keep us from doing the things that we needed to do in our community. So it's never been that we're asking for a handout, but just to keep the hand from stopping us from going so far in our community. And as a financial advisor, when I found this thing called cryptocurrency, the first time I wasn't interested, I just was not interested. Just didn't seem real. And when it came back around to me, and I really got an epiphany about the fact that this was really something that our community, if we grasped it properly, could change the wealth gap, not only change, but close the wealth gap that exists in our communities. And so I left regular financial services. We delved into this. We've been here since 2017, all day, every day, all night, really making sure that we understand what our community needs are, and we're able to provide that. So as we go into this talk, I'm just going to really share 3 groups of our Black folks in our community, in any community, but in our community specifically, that are going to be decimated in the next 5 years if we don't understand this. So yes, you heard me right. Both myself and Harper feel as though if our community specifically does not get this and grasp this in the next 5 years, we are going to be the permanent underclass in America. So yes, we have a couple of our millionaires and billionaires. We've got our sports athletes and all of these individuals, but our community as a whole is in real trouble. And so we needed to just get out and make sure that people are getting that word. So the first group of individuals, in my opinion, that I feel in our community that are going to be decimated in the next 5 years, if they don't understand this cryptocurrency space, are those individuals that have never heard of cryptocurrency and never heard of Bitcoin. So as we move and we talk about these people, what can we do as a community? We can start planting the seed. And I'm not asking you all to teach them anything. I'm asking you to plant the seed by asking, have you heard of cryptocurrency or this Bitcoin thing? And then have a conversation with them about finding a place to start to learn about it. Or at least allowing them to pique their ears when they hear something on the news or they hear something in passing where they're just not oblivious to the fact that this cryptocurrency space is going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and nobody in our community is talking about it. So I'm asking our community to start to plant the seed. I don't care whether it's a pastor, I don't care who it is, whether it's a child or a teenager in your household. We need to start allowing them to really know that this is going on. And just FYI, there are so many cartoons right now where they're talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And unless your children even know what it is, it just goes right over their head. But my kids they can come running down the hallway, play it back. They're talking about Bitcoin. And those are the things that a lot of our children are missing. So I don't care if you're young, I don't care if you're old. We really need to get and make sure that our community gets this information. So the second group of folks that I know are going to be affected in our community are those that are getting into this space for get rich quick. Now, this space is and has been deemed for a lot of our community a place where they can come, make some money really, really quick and go make some more money really, really quick. But I want to make sure that the message that I'm giving you is that is not this space. You can definitely make 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. I'm not saying that that's not possible. But as we seek to really understand what this space is about, I submit to our community that this is about slow and steady in the proper way so that at a later date, there's no repercussions for us not understanding this space, because this space will chew you up and spit you out. And I've been in that space. So I'm telling you that our community needs to take this from a different set of eyes. And so we want to make sure we're clear on that. The third group of people in this space, in our community, that this is going to hurt if they don't get it, are those of us who feel like we've arrived. We have the jobs. We have the 401ks, we got our real estate in place, our retirement is good, and we don't need to be a part of that stuff. And I hear that all the time. I don't need that stuff. Well, for that part of our community, I have to say to them that you are going to be involved in cryptocurrency, whether you like it or not. Money is changing. This is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and you need to understand it. So when I stand here today, I'm not here to convince anybody that they need to be involved in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. I would like to help our community understand how we got here, why we got here, what we need to do as a community, and what this looks like to us in the next 5 years. Because once the switch is flipped, it is going to be something to reckon with. And so we got to make sure that we're ahead of this curve. So with that being said, a lot of our community, and I grew up in the church and just always really paying attention to what people say, how they say it. But I think most of our folks feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're spending money every day. We're buying cars. We're buying houses. Money is working well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But as we know, in the evolution of anything, things change. Ladies and gentlemen, money is changing, whether you see it or not. What is being shown to us above board is not what's happening behind closed doors. And we need to understand that we've got to get ourselves in a position to not look up and be last yet again to something that we could have circumvented by us understanding that money's changing. So as we talk about money, and I'm just going to help bring you into the evolution of money, and I'm going to kind of ask them to watch because I want to make sure Hill gets on. So I'll go through the evolution of money maybe first. I don't know how much time I have, and then we'll stop. We'll talk about, the stuff with Hill. It's 10 after. So I got 10 minutes, thanks. Okay, so he'll come on at 45. So we'll talk about the evolution of money, then we'll hear Heal, and then I'll explain Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to you so you all can get this, and we'll pull it together. Just be patient with us, and thank you to RH Boyd for their patience. So evolving money. So all of us know at the beginning of history, we've used everything as money. So money can be defined as anything that a community or a group of people is willing to use to trade and barter for goods and services. So if face mask is the new way to barter, this is the new money, then I'll be rich because I got 1,000 of these things since COVID started. No, but whatever someone is willing to use to barter for goods and service can be deemed money. With that being said, we've used everything from cows, chickens, we've used sticks, we've used rocks, we've used salt from the ocean, we've used tulips, the flower, it has been used as money. We've used all sorts of things throughout history because we had to find better ways to do things, because when we talk about money and how we recognize who has the wealth, it has to be something that has a cap to it. That's a scarce thing. But if they were using sticks and rocks, if I wanted to be the richest one in the village, I'd just go pick up some sticks, put them together, take them to my house, and I'd be the rich one. So we had to figure out and evolve as we went along as to what things would be used as money. So about 5,000 years ago, we found this shiny substance in the earth called gold. And we have used gold on earth. Every continent, every country, every city utilizes gold as the store of value. It's just universal. So you can have a piece of gold, you can take it anywhere in the world, and they'll turn it into their currency because that's what we've used. To date, there is $10 trillion stored in gold. So people have taken their money, done whatever, but they store a lot of their wealth in gold. And then something interesting happened here in the United States. In 1913, there were a group of men, and I'll just bring you all in really quick because I don't want to break this up too much. But there was a group of men in 1913 that went off the coast of Georgia to an island called Jekyll, Jekyll. It's called, and you can look it up on Google. It's called the Creatures of Jekyll Island. They were the great grandfathers of Chase and J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Fifth Third, Bank of America. You name it, they were there on this island. Some of them refused to even be named. But what they did was they formed the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, I know most of you think that the Federal Reserve Bank is a federal entity, but I'm here to share with you that it is a private corporation held by those families still today since 1913. So in 1933, our president of the United States decided that the gold was better in somebody's hands and not ours as a United States. So there was an executive order that was brought in, put in every post office and general store that said you had 3 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, to turn your gold into the Federal Reserve Bank, its agents, or anybody that was affiliated with it, because you could no longer hold it. It was illegal for you to have and hold your own wealth. It was given to these brothers at the bank, which is the Federal Reserve Bank. And so in doing that, what we know now is that wherever the money goes, that's where the power goes. So now these families held all the entire wealth in the United States. They stored that gold in Fort Knox. The gold was stored there, again, making it look like a federal entity, but it was not. And in order for them to take our wealth from us and our store of value, they had to give us something. So how many people remember those silver dollars and half a dollars that our grandparents used to have? My grandmother had drawers full of them. And that is what they gave us as a measurement for the wealth that they had taken from us all across the United States. And they knew that them making those different coins in silver, they didn't give it back to us in gold, if you know that, but they gave it to us in silver. Then as time went on, those silvers weren't even all silver. They had some other stuff in it. And now they recognize that it cost them more money to make some of this stuff, even like a penny. I think they said it's like 7 cents to make a penny. And so what they did was they stopped making them, and they're starting to pull them back. So for those of you, and I just want you all to start to perk your ears and eyes to be aware of what's happening. So if you've been anywhere after COVID, during COVID, where they said there's a coin shortage, you need exact change. The reason why is because they're starting to pull these coins back off the market because, again, money is changing. So as we look at the evolution of money, and as money is evolving, we went from gold to now we've got these coins. Then we went to this paper dollar called fiat, F-I-A-T. And if you look it up in the Webster Dictionary, it says paper money with no intrinsic value other than what the government says that it's worth. Well, why is that? Because our money is backed by gold, right? The gold that's in Fort Knox. That's what most of us think. So I see some heads shaking no. That is absolutely not. Our gold disappeared. And we are now off the gold standard. President Nixon took us off in 1971 because there's no gold. Nobody knows where it went. Nobody's talking about it, and nobody seems to care except those of us that are trying to research and educate our community. Because I want to know how it walked out of Louisville and nobody didn't see all those 50, 60 trucks going out of there, but it's gone. So we're off the gold standard. So our dollar is backed by nothing. So when people have the argument about cryptocurrency being backed by nothing, we kind of got some similarities going on, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So as we move into further the evolution of money, we move to credit cards. So credit cards was something that we were all given to start buying things, to keep it real, buying things that we wanted for the most part, not necessarily needed, and pay for it a little bit later. A concept that proved detrimental to our community. And the reason why is because our interest rates look like 8, 9, 15, 24%. And in other communities, theirs looks like 2, 3, 5, at the most 7, and they're just not having it. But ours started way higher than other communities. So it was detrimental to our community. And then you look at, thank you. And then the evolution happened again. And we moved from these credit cards to a digital space. So a lot of you don't even realize how much of a digital space you're in right now. That digital space looks like Apple Pay, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. We are already dealing in a digital space, except what they're utilizing to keep measure is that fiat with no intrinsic value. And right now I'm saying that it's okay, but we're wanting to help our community understand you're already there in the digital space. We're using fiat, but in the evolution of money, the next step is cryptocurrency. So there are 9,144 cryptocurrencies that are registered. So when we're talking today, just understand that this is in essence, and I hate to say it like this because I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but I think a lot of our folks understand the stock market. There's a whole stock market happening right now, and ain't nobody in our community talking about it with 9,144 plus coins. It trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people are getting flat out wealthy, not just on those 9,100 coins, but on one specifically I'm going to be talking about in a second. But I want to make sure that you all are understanding that money, again, is changing. The form is changing. And we really are looking at the fact that so many companies are getting in this space trying to figure out where they fit in. So let me just give you a couple, and I think we're right about time for Heal. So I'll cap it after this, and then we'll go back and I'll explain the cryptocurrencies. But Disney has a coin, ladies and gentlemen. Nike just filed a patent for crypto kicks. My thought is that eventually you're going to need a crypto kick in order to buy your Nikes. We got Pepsi Cola that has a coin. Next time you buy a potato chip bag, flip it on the back. You're going to see Pep coin. Now, they're not using it for that right now, but they will slowly figure out how to play in this game because it's going to be the only game available eventually. So there's so many companies from from Hollywood to all different types of things. And these coins are used for different things. So I don't want you all to think that this is all about 9,100 ways of money, because there's not. They have different use cases and they serve different purposes. So I want to make sure our community has the best information possible. And they told me 45 after. So I am going to, okay. So let's talk about specifically the grandfather of all coins, and that is Bitcoin. Yes. So as we look at how to really get our minds poised to understand that Bitcoin, what they're calling the new digital gold, has so many similarities to gold, it's kind of scary, but it's working, and it was meant to do all the things that gold was meant to do or has been doing, and better. Okay, so gold, I told you all, has been used for 5,000 years. It has a market cap of $10 trillion with the T. You want to call him on my phone, or are you good? Oh, he is. Okay. So let me go ahead and pause, and we'll go back into the differences.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me? Hey, everybody. It's Hill Harper. How are you? It's wonderful. Every time I get to listen to my partner, Naja Roberts, she inspires me, and I learn so much every time. It is just an honor to be there with you. I had the wonderful opportunity of connecting and talking with Ms. LaDonna Boyd and understanding and learning about the history and the legacy of the Boyd family and Boyd Publishing and the business. And really, that family and this business is a testament to what we're attempting to build in our own new way with the Black Wall Street digital wallet. The idea that we can create jobs, that we can create opportunity, that we can create legacy through sound financial practices, through building businesses, through supporting other Black businesses and recirculating our dollars, creating quality product and quality opportunity for folks. One of the most devastating points, and I'm not sure if Naja mentioned this at all, but one of the most devastating points or data points that I talk about quite often is that in 1863, African Americans, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, we held a little less than 1% of American wealth. Today, May 2021, we still hold a little less than 1% of American wealth. But there have been times and places that have disrupted that, where we've seen group economic and collective economic success amongst Black folk. And one of the best examples was the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where O.W. Gurley founded 35 blocks and said, rather than putting up girly groceries and girly cinemas and girly apartments where folks can rent from me because I'm rich, I'm going to actually create an ecosystem of ownership. And I believe there were three pillars in the original brick and mortar Black Wall Street that created wealth. Pillar number one was institutional ownership. Pillar number two was institutional trust. We trusted each other and worked together and supported each other. And pillar number three was the movement of money or capital within the ecosystem, where a dollar changed hands 60 to 100 times. Back then, that was over a year before it left. You know what? Today, a dollar leaves the Black community within 6 to 7 hours. And the reason why Naja and I have created this digital wallet is that if we don't start owning our own digital wallet, with the advent of digital currency and cryptocurrency, the dollar is going to be leaving our community within 6 to 7 seconds. We can literally recreate the brick and mortar success that was the original Black Wall Street 100 years later as a digital ecosystem, where we're able to onboard people, transact amongst each other, use digital technology, state-of-the-art technology to actually transact and invest and build cross-generational wealth. But it has to start with financial literacy and financial education, because 90% of the financial products offered to our community are predatory on their face or hidden predatory. What do I mean when I say predatory on their face? That means payday lenders, check cashing spots, rent to own spots. Why do you think these types of places are only in our community and you don't see them anywhere else? Then, what do I mean by hidden predatory? Well, hidden predatory is when you see a number of these bank branches put up balloons and flowers saying, we're launching in the hood, we're launching in the hood. And then all of a sudden you start to peel back the onion and you see that they encourage their people to have folks open up accounts with $600, $800 in them, but they charge them $200, $250 a year in fees, ATM fees, overdraft fees. You didn't hit your account balance minimum fees. All of these things suck millions and billions aggregately of dollars out of our community. We believe with our digital platform that we can actually lower the cost of being you. One of the number one quotes from my book that I published 10 years ago, The Wealth Cure, to deal with the wealth gap. We're not new to this, but the technology is new. That's the key here. We've been working on these things for many, many years, but the technology offers us a brand new opportunity to scale the impact, to create cross-generational wealth transfer in our community, and to build financial foundations. I truly believe you can't have social justice without economic justice. What does that mean? All of the things we've been talking about this past year plus, whether we're talking about education gaps shown by the pandemic and people trying to educate their kids from home, whether we're talking about the healthcare gaps and the fact that we got hit the hardest by COVID in our community, whether we're talking about mass incarceration and police brutality, obviously we know what that is. Any of these social justice issues, there's one thing that links all of those communities that get hit the hardest, and that is poverty and lack of financial foundation. So I truly believe that if we actually shore up our financial foundation, we build wealth, we build self, we build community, then we actually will aggregately solve many of these other social ills because we have options to solve them. I just give you a quick example. In many wealthy communities, who's the first people that they call? They don't call the police, they call the private security company that they were able to hire to patrol the neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? There are solutions out there that involve having the capacity to pay for them that don't always involve relying on the government to be good stewards of the neighborhood. I don't want to get too deep for y'all because you'd be like, hell's gonna wait, what's my head, boof, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do all that. And I want to make sure you hear from Naja and you're not in there too long. But I just want to say thank you all for coming out. Thank you to Boyd, the Boyd family, Boyd Publishing. Thank you for being strategic partners with us. We look forward to a long and fruitful partnership. And everybody out there, we have to work together. Okay, Dr. King said, we're all tied together in a single garment of mutual destiny. He said, we're all tied together in a single garment of mutual destiny. That's not just me. This company isn't about me. The Black Wall Street Digital Wise isn't about Naja, me, or Boyd Publishing. It's about all of us working together collectively to actually a rising tide raises all boats. So God bless you all. Let's do this together. Any ideas you have about how we can improve and work together collectively, this is a conversation. Let us know. As we launch, May 31st is just the beginning. We need to be there together, support each other. Please follow us on the social channels. You can text me on my community number, which is 918-262-4604. You can reach me on my social. You can also, there's a new number we're going to have. You can text me and we can talk directly. So all that's to say, God bless. Thank you so much. And Naja, back to you. I'm excited to hear what you got to say, even though I've heard it a number of times. I never get enough of it. I got to sit back and just watch. Thank you.
All right. Well, Hill, before you go, we have a couple questions.
Okay, good.
So folks are wanting to know, well, let me say this about Hill really quick, which I haven't said yet on the tour, except maybe on some of the radio stations. The reason why we're partnering is because we're really making sure that we send a message to our community that we can work together. Even though we have similar products that will be considered competition, we need to begin to pull together because this is about our people, about our community. And so that's one of the reasons we're partnering. He bootstrapped his program on his own, does something similar to what I'm doing, but we've got to work together. And so we're tasking our entire community that whether you have a bank or whatever it is that you're in the financial space, that we pull together because we all need each other. There's so many of us that need to just really come together in this space. So I wanted to put that out there. But this brother, ladies and gentlemen, is when I say I'm not the Hollywood one at all. So when they told me, I'm not the
But she
Hollywood.
is the one that lives in LA. So
But,
so what does that
yeah,
really mean, y'all?
I live in
You gotta
LA.
be a critical thinker when it comes to things people say. She says she's not
Yes,
Hollywood,
yes.
but I
I'm
don't live in LA. I don't live in LA.
and I have to say this because I meet movie stars and they are so stuffy and ridiculous. And this brother was down to earth and about his folks. He wasn't worried if he said something to offend a person that he would not be on the next season because he's saying, look, I only got one chance to get this right for my community and I have to say what I need to say. And that's the type of person and the type of people that we need help and roll with us through this thing. So that's one of the things. But Hill, people are wondering with this digital app, what is going to be the difference between our app and the other, well, between our wallet and the other digital wallets that people are downloading? What's the difference?
That's great. That's a wonderful question. The first and foremost, it's going to be about education. We're going to have over 100 videos on there educating folks about the do's and don'ts when it comes to financial literacy in general, and also about cryptocurrency specifically, also things about estate planning, which we don't talk about enough in our community. All of these things that we want to make sure. There's this old saying, it's expensive to be poor. That means that unless you learn, you can't do better if you don't know better. And many of these financial tools, let's just call them what they are, these apps, digital wallets, investment tools, they don't want you to do better. They just want to make money off you. And that's the difference between ours. We want you to win. We're not going to be like Robin Hood, where we're going to try to get you to trade, because they're going to make money off the trades. We want you to actually buy and hold. We don't want you getting in and out of positions. Why? Because we know long-term dollar cost averaging, buying and holding is when you actually can grow wealth and savings over time. Time in the market is better than trying to time the market, unless you're just one of these people, which is the top 0.05%, who's got those 3 video screens up and they're literally making these big trades and they're in a position for 18 seconds and they're out in 6 seconds and they're doing all this. That's literally your life. To me, let's be honest, the most valuable thing we have is more valuable than Bitcoin, is more valuable than gold, is more valuable than Tesla stock, is your time. Steve Jobs said, listen, I give away Apple, the billions, just to see my daughter graduate high school. Do you want to really spend your time worrying about trades and 3 screens and I'm in this position? No. You want to set it and forget it. Build your assets while you're sleeping or spending time with your child. We as Black people have been taught how to work for money, but we've never been taught how to make our money work for us. That's what we're going to do on the app. That's the difference. If you want me to talk about some of the other apps, I would say to you, they're not even just trying to get your money. They're also trying to lock you into debt. And we can talk deeper into that, but I don't want to waste too much of the time. We're not going to do any of those types of things. We are not going to do any predatory practices on our app, even hidden predatory practices. And let me be very clear to you. A hidden predatory practice is when someone tries to offer you money for an interest rate that's onerous and lock you into paying the minimums every month, where literally you're getting no value for the money you spend. That is a hidden predatory practice that the credit card company's been doing for years, and these digital wallets will be launching as well. We will not do that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And for those of you that are watching live on YouTube, please put your questions in the chat. We do have someone that's monitoring the chat. And towards the end, I'm going to answer all the questions. And if he'll still here, he'll answer those as well. The other question that I would like for you or to explain to individuals, what is this thing called dollar cost averaging that you're suggesting?
Absolutely. That's a great question. DCA, or dollar cost averaging, is something I talk about in this book, The Wealth Cure. For you, those of you who have never read it, please check it out if you get a chance. I think you'll like it. It's written in an enjoyable way. You'll get it. But what dollar cost averaging is taking a set amount of money. Let's say, if you say, Hill, I think over the next 6 months, I got $1,000 to invest. And let's say 10 months, just to make the math easier for me, since I'm not a, So that would be, if you are going to dollar cost average $1,000 over 10 months, rather than taking your whole 1,000 right now and throwing it into the asset on that day, you take $100 a month over the next 10 months. And no matter what the price is, up or down, you put it in over that time. Or you say, I'm going to take $10, would be like, let's say $5 a day over a shorter period of time. What I'm talking about is you take a regular set amount, and that's when I say set it and forget it. It takes away the volatility of the asset class that you're investing in, because Bitcoin, I believe in it as a long-term store of value and a long-term asset, much like I view real estate. I believe you're buying real estate on the blockchain when you get your Satoshis, which is a fractal share of Bitcoin. But you don't want to jump in and out of it as a trader. Why? Because it's very volatile. One day it'll be up, one day it'll be down. The next week it might be down further. Next week. So if you are trying to time it, you're spending a lot of time trying to figure it out, and you may time it wrong. But if you dollar cost average, you actually win either way. What do I mean? If the price goes down, you're getting more for that same amount of investment if you've committed to a certain amount. So you're getting more assets or more Satoshis or more of a higher percentage of Bitcoin. If the price goes up, your overall portfolio value is going up. Although the individual purchase, you're getting a little incrementally less, but your overall portfolio value goes up. So it mitigates the risk factors and also mitigates some of the volatility of the investment. So you spread it out over time. Slow and steady wins the race. Long-term holding wins the race. So dollar cost averaging is just averaging the cost of your investment over time, not looking at a one-time purchase. So I can just tell you, I'm not giving anyone investment advice right now. I want to be very clear. I can just tell you what I do. What I do is I dollar cost average on a daily basis. I purchase an amount of Bitcoin I can afford, a fractal share, a certain number of Satoshis on a daily basis. And it's money that I'm using that I know I don't need to touch in the short term. Hear me very clearly. I want you to have an emergency fund set up first, because if the COVID pandemic taught you anything, you need to have at least 6 months of your needs set aside for living expenses, etc. That's your emergency savings. You don't touch that. You let that exist and stay. You want to put the rest of your money to work for you, and you find different places to do it. One of the main places I use is Bitcoin.
All right. Well, let's give him a hand clap. Let's give him a hand clap. I know that you, R.H. Boyd, I know you do have a feed. So if they have questions, I guess just continue to put them in there. We'll make sure we answer those questions.
Somebody was talking about XRP. I saw that came up. And so I'm sure Naja's going to get, he said, Dudley Curtis said, I am so excited about XRP, purchasing it for the long haul. We can get into talking about alternative coins and what those are, and Naja will talk about them, and
oh, he's got it on the screen. He's great. Okay, can you read that, Hill? What
does that say?
What would you recommend for someone that questions the risk of investing in Bitcoin?
Okay. Obviously, that is a question that comes up all the time. And I would just say, hey, you have to do your own research, but look at the fundamentals. Look at what we're talking about. We're talking about an asset class that has scarcity built into it, and it's actually doing what it was exactly designed to do almost perfectly. And that's it's already proven that it does what it does very well, and that's a store of value. And remember, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever minted. And Naja can get into all of this deeper. But part of what you have to think about when you're talking about investing is also your downside risk management. Everybody always wants to talk about upside. And this is to the person who talked about XRP and all of these other altcoins. Everyone wants to talk about, oh man, that could go up 1,000%. This could go up this percent. Sure, they could, but they could also go to zero. And so you have to remember, your risk management. And what does risk management mean? It means your downside potential. And the thing about Bitcoin at this point, there's enough adoption in it and enough money in it and enough diverse buyers in it that even if the price starts to fall, there'll be a floor where there are buyers for it. And what does that mean? It means your risk is mitigated on the downside, particularly if you're dollar cost averaging. For instance, for me, I'm an investor in Bitcoin, but I actually want the price to fall. Now, you should look at me like, what sense that mean? He said he owns Bitcoin, but he wants the price to fall. Yes, because if it falls, I actually get more of the asset because I'm dollar cost averaging. I want the price to go down. But here's the deal. People that are in it for the short term and the trade and all that, there's a lot of risk because you don't know where it's going. But if you're making a long-term commitment, there is no day in the history of the inception of Bitcoin that if you bought it and held it for 4 years, that you are under. And that's a powerful statement. There's very few asset classes you can say that for. There's certain stocks you certainly can say that for. But I believe in this as a store of value. I believe in it as digital gold, just as gold is a store of value. And I believe in, mark my words, I'm going to say this. I know you're recording it, y'all. So maybe they'll play it back 4 or 5 years from now. I believe that 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't know when, that we won't even say Bitcoin. We'll be talking about Satoshis. Because just like gold bars used to be priced as bars, the price went up to a point where people started only pricing gold in ounces. We are going to get to a point where the actual unit price of one Bitcoin is so high that people won't be trading an individual Bitcoin anymore. They'll be actually just trading Satoshis, which are a fractal share of Bitcoin. There are 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin. So there will be a future where we're just talking about Satoshis or sats, not talking about Bitcoin itself. Mark my words, that day will come. And if we get all Black families and all Black people in this country, at least 1 million Satoshis. So if you have 3 kids, a husband and a wife, that's 5 people in the house, that household should have at least 5 million Satoshis. That's my goal, is every person in the country, every African-American, every person, period, to have 1 million Satoshis.
All right. Well, thank you for that. We have a question from the floor, so I'm going to just read this really quickly. I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but so I'll read both questions together. How does crypto gain value? That's number one. And how do you access tangible goods and resources such as food and housing?
Okay. Naja, take the...
Yeah,
go
no, you can take
I
it.
would say take the first one, and I'll take the second one, because people hear my voice too much. They need to hear your voice.
Well, they're here with me. We're here to talk to Hill Harper today, but I'm just going to say, I'm going to jump in real quick. There's something, as he talked about scarcity. So on the teaching side, there's something in the cryptocurrencies, well, in the Bitcoin protocol called halving, HALVING, a halving period. And what it is every 10 minutes, there's a certain amount of Bitcoin being produced. We won't get into the specifics because we've got him on here. But every 10 minutes, right now, there are 6.25 Bitcoin being made. Well, in 3 years, because the halving period happens every 4 years, it happened in 2020. So in 3 years, it will go from 6.25 coins every 10 minutes to 3. Then that 3 in another 4 years will go to 1.5. Then that 1.5 gets cut in another 4 years until there is no more Bitcoin to ever be created. And if you look at the charts, and you don't have to be a chartist or any of that, but Bitcoin has done phenomenally, but it gains its value based on the scarcity. Because if it's the only store of value, and I'm going to say the only because that's to be argued, but if it's the only store of value for the future and everybody wants to get a hold of it, that is what creates the value. But not only that, moving into the second question, people are already buying goods and services with Bitcoin. There's a community called Bitcoin Beach. They buy food, housing, everything is done specifically with Bitcoin. If you look at Amsterdam, that's another place that uses cryptocurrency. But I personally have tenants that pay me in Bitcoin right now. I want their Bitcoin because their rent today could be $1,300, and next month that's $1,300 sitting there could look like 15 or 17, which is way more than I would get in the bank. So I encourage people to pay me as a business owner, as a landlord in Bitcoin, because it would behoove me to do so, and it has done phenomenally. That being said, food and housing. And I know we said we were going to let Hill do some of this. But if you just Google Forbes 100 companies that accept Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, people are accepting Bitcoin that won't say it, because right now, until they figure it out, they're kind of more like a hush, hush, hush until they get things in place. Just like this year, we heard Tesla say they had, actually they lied and said they purchased $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, and I think it was January or February. Well, the point of the matter is they've been buying it. They just had to report it to the SEC. So when we hear these things, we need to start really thinking objectively, like why, what was the reason they made this announcement like all of a sudden? You know, the banks are now stating that they're going to begin to custody our Bitcoin. This is not what this space is about. Remember, I told you the goal had to be turned in 3 weeks. Well, if somebody else is custodying your Bitcoin, all they have to do is turn it over. This is about self-sovereignty. This space is about you being able to do your own banking. So housing, goods, all those things you can buy right now. But we don't want you to think about spending right now, because we're on the accumulation ride right now. That is what we need to be doing in our community, is accumulating. And let me tell you why you don't want to use it for goods and resources. Because I was the one in 2017 who ran out because Bed Bath & Beyond said they were accepting Bitcoin. I just wanted to see how easy it was going to be. And I bought a juicer. Juicer was $150. Today, based on the price of Bitcoin, I tried to do it this morning before I left the hotel, that juicer is worth $1,700. So I'm not buying anything else that is going to sit and not do anything for me when this asset that I have to spend to get it is continuously rising. So I want to make sure that we're understanding our message. And again, I'm not a financial advisor anymore. Hill's not a financial advisor. We're suggesting to our community to do as we do.
And let me be very clear. Let me follow on that.
Yes.
90% of the assets that folks in Black, brown, and marginalized communities hold is in cash. 95% of the assets that wealthy folks hold is not in cash. That means 5% of their assets is what they hold in cash, as opposed to 90% in our community. That should automatically tell folks something. It tells you this, that cash devalues every day. If most of your assets are being held in cash, and we have a mattress mentality in our community, and it's well founded because we've been ripped off by so many financial services products that you're like, I just want to hold on to this because these people are taking my money. And I get it. But the problem is, every time your head hits the pillow, by the time you wake up the next morning, if you held it in cash, it's worth less. So what does it mean when we say we want you to actually put your money into ascending value assets? I'm not actually telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm telling you to sell your dollars. Get out of cash. If you say, Hill, I want to put it into real estate, good. Put it into real estate. Make sure it's actually in a community where they're not devaluing how they're actually doing their appraisals. Like the sister last week, she got it appraised twice, and then she had her white friend pretend that she was the owner, and it doubled in value. So just think about that for a second. Think about 15 million Black homeowners, and then multiply that by double, and think about how much billions and perhaps trillions of dollars of equity have been lost because of systemic racist practices in the housing industry and the suppression of housing values, the higher cost of interest for a home in a certain neighborhood, all the redlining and hidden redlining that's happened. So there are a lot of institutional barriers that suppress wealth in these other areas. That's all I'm saying. The thing about Bitcoin and what it offers is it's agnostic to race. It's just fair. Your Bitcoin doesn't know if you got a black iPhone or a gold iPhone. I promise you, it really doesn't. And so there's in Elon Musk Satoshis are not worth any more than my Satoshis, no matter how much he holds or no matter who he is. That's not true in any other area where there's inherent biases and systemic and institutionalized biases already baked into the system. The example I like to use about this technology is an example that people are like surprised I say it. In New York City, I used to try to get my cab and the cabs would drive right by. And people would always used to say, come on, Hill, the free market is stronger than racism. And I'd say, come on, dude, the free market is not stronger than racism because these cabbies clearly don't want my money. But when Travis, who's the founder of Uber, created Uber, he wasn't trying to solve a race problem. But the beautiful thing about that Uber app, it don't know what I look like. It just knows to go to where the ping is. Now you may then, get all smart alecky with me and say, well, he knows what your zip code is, and they got fewer Ubers in the black zip codes. And okay, let's slow down. Point is, the actual technology doesn't know, and it's going to send a car there. Same thing with Bitcoin as an example. You owning this asset, and this is why it's important. And let me just say this. When someone talks about, well, what about food and housing and all of these things, that's asking a liquidity question. And absolute liquidity is important. But if you actually stack enough of the asset, you can actually borrow against the asset to create liquidity if you need it. So my suggestion is long-term hold of this asset class and passing it down generation to generation. And if you need liquidity based off the asset, you actually borrow against it. We will have a facility eventually. Now, let's be very clear. This is not part of what we're launching May 31st, but it's a part of the product roadmap of the wallet itself. We will have an ability for you to get a loan against your Bitcoin. That will come as part of our offering on the wallet. It's not starting that way because people don't have enough Bitcoin to even loan against it yet. But over time they will, and they may need liquidity. And a better choice is to not sell the asset. Every time folks who own homes, historic homes, don't sell the house just because they need money. They take a loan out against the house and pass the house down to future generations. That's how you maintain wealth. And you can do the same thing in this crypto space. I hope that makes sense to folks.
Yes, it does. I love this question that we just got on the floor. It says, what is the financial switch that we should be looking for as when crypto becomes sealed? I love to answer this one, Hill.
Go.
So there's this gentleman that's the president of Chase Bank. His name is Jamie Dimon. In 2017, Jamie Dimon said if he caught any of his employees doing Bitcoin at the time, he would be firing them. Fast forward 4 months in 2018, he wrote the Bitcoin Bible. Fast forward 2021, he is now offering Bitcoin to his high net worth clients. So start to pay attention to some of these things because they're going to tell you, they're going to make it seem like you can't purchase Bitcoin, but you don't have to be high net worth. You can do $5. But the point in all of that is all the banks have now gone to the federal government to get authorization to be able to hold our Bitcoin. So that tells you that they're trying to get ahead of something. And if they hold it for you, then they're able to do all the things that they've been doing in the past. But the difference is it's changing from fiat to cryptocurrency. So that being said, it's so many lovely things happening right now. And again, this is about accessibility. You can Google this as well. MoneyGram just stated they're going to have 15,000 locations that will currently offer Bitcoin sales to the community. So, and I think they're going to have some high fees and some other stuff. You know how they do
That's
it anyway.
Right.
But we want to just...
The Black Wall Street, our fees are going to be less than Coinbase and less than Cash App.
Yes.
We are, that's it on our platform. Because we're about giving value away and having a long-term relationship and creating a long-term ecosystem. And to follow along on Naja's point there about that, I was just in a high-level meeting with somebody from Silicon Valley that was questioning me, and they were trying to, talk about, Hill, how can you be talking about Bitcoin to, you're saying, to Black and brown and marginalized communities when it's such a volatile asset? And this is a very wealthy investor. I said, well, how much Bitcoin do you own? He said, well, I have it balanced in my portfolio. I said, so it's good enough for you, but it's not good enough for them. Well, no, it's just such a high volatile asset class that I don't think if you don't have much money, you should not be. Oh, okay, really? Okay. See, you got to really read between the lines. Folks are attempting to dissuade diverse populations from being a part of this asset class so it can be a replication of the same kind of wealth stratification that you've seen before. We can't fall for it. That's why we need early adoption. We need to dominate it. And remember, we create the value. Our culture, our community has created value everywhere we go. So if we are the earliest major adopters of Bitcoin, the value is going to go through the roof and we will be the beneficiaries. It's time we own our own culture and monetize our own community rather than allowing others to come in and monetize it for us or from us.
Thank you, sir. That was awesome. We know they just threw something on the screen, so I'm going to read this really quickly, and then we're going to let you go so we can kind of dive in and just kind of finish up about 5 minutes. It said, will there only be one cryptocurrency used in the future, seeing as we have only one mode of currency in the U.S. right now?
Okay, so we are entering a new world when we're entering the digital currency area. Now, when we say digital currency, that includes the digitization of hard money. Okay, and so when we talk about that, just like the best way I try to explain to people, just like, people use this to tell time. There's my son, Pierce. Hey, Pierce. Just like people use this to tell time, and the watch has become an accessory. Like, people still wear watches, but it's really an accessory. They don't actually look at their watch. They look at this, right? The same thing is going to happen with your wallet or your purse. Now, I know you ladies out there that got the Pradas and the Guccis and the Chanels. Don't worry. You'll still be able to wear them, but they'll just be like your watch, an accessory. You will not carry means of transaction in them. Okay, right. When I say means of transaction, I'm talking about what you carry in it now, credit cards and cash. You will, in the future, you will not use those. Your means of transaction will all be through this device and the apps like these that exist. Your digital wallet will be here and you will use this wallet to transact. You're already doing it. Apple Pay, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, Cash App. It's already happening, but it's going to take over and happen exclusively. And yes, there will be different cryptocurrency and different crypto assets to be used for specific items. That's why creating a microeconomy or a marketplace like the Black Wall Street is critical, because once you have a marketplace for the people, then you make Nike, Amazon, State Farm, whoever have to come to you rather than you going to them. That's why they're so scared. Because if we can come together and control our $1.2 trillion of spending power within an ecosystem like the Black Wall Street, and we say, oh, you want to touch some of this? You got to come into here and offer us a benefit. We're 30% off, 40% off to get access to this community. That's when we have the power, and technology offers it up to us if we onboard, educate each other, help each other, and transact with each other. Folks have to come to us. That's leveraging our power. And yes, cryptocurrencies will be used in the future. Digital currencies will be used in the future. Yet we have to create our own ecosystems of use and our own marketplaces.
Yes. Well, let's give him a hand again. And we want to ask everybody to go to the Black Wall Street. That's THE, blackwallstreet.com. Please register by putting your email address in there. And for being here today, I know people are listening to us on YouTube, but for being with us today, Even if you're on YouTube, if you go ahead and do that today, you're going to receive free Satoshis, which is a fractional share of a Bitcoin. We're going to be putting that in your wallet on the 31st of May. So I know he's explained the significance of that. And then those of you that are sitting here today, we also have something special that we're going to do for you right here in the studio audience. I feel like Oprah, the Oprah of crypto. In the studio audience, we have some things.
Look under your seat. There may be something under there.
That's
A
funny.
virtual wallet.
We should have thought of that. We should have thought of that, Miss Boyd. But that would have been awesome. So if you have time, because we know that you're very busy, you can hang in there with us. I think
I just want to say, I want to say thank you so much, you all. I'm giving you some secret inside baseball right now. We are doing our development team. We have one of the greatest Black CTOs in the world. And for those of you who know, the Chief Technology Officer. We are doing a code freeze in a few hours, which means, just the parlance means, we will stop writing code, stop changing the platform, and it will be frozen until we launch on the 31st. So they can't hear me saying, well, can we change this? Or can we do this? Can we do this? And we're definitely going to want feedback from you after we launch, because we'll unfreeze the code and start making changes and improving it from folks who are using it and on it and saying, hey, I would love it if you could do this on it, or I'd want this. But we're about to freeze the code. So I got to get my last few recommendations and changes in before they cut me off. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. And that's an important point. I just want to say, we have not licensed other people's technology. We are not white labeling someone else's digital wallet. This is built by us for us. It's our code. Yes. We own the IP. We own the intellectual property. That's important, because a lot of stuff you see out there, folks don't own, right? Somebody else owns it, but they throw their face on it. This is not that. So please, that's why we need your help and support. We own this top to bottom, and we can change it as it goes. And we're going to change. We're going to iterate and iterate and iterate and make it better. You know, and so God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Please go to thebblackwallstreet.com, put your email address in, and I will see you on the other side.
Yes, yes. No, I'll answer that for you. So the sister asked a really important question. And, you know, I don't want to say it this way because he may not have this sentiment, so I'm not going to speak for him. But when we were talking about further development of the wallet, and we talked about maybe having a Visa or MasterCard attached, one of the reasons I didn't want to in this space, and we may eventually do it because of necessity, but I think initially we need to get our folks out of the mindset of having easy access to just spend it. Because if we put that wallet out and we put a Visa MasterCard in people's hand, first thing they do is go do what I did at Bed Bath & Beyond and just swipe it, right? And so this is almost initially forcing us to do something different than we've done in the past, and that's to save and stack your Satoshi. So that's what our prayer is, that every single family, as he said, each family member, we say start with the household first, having 1 million Satoshis, but each family member should hold at least 1 million Satoshis. So we're going to let him go. And then, I know it's getting late, so we'll just kind of touch really quickly on some of the things around Bitcoin. And then if anybody has any questions, Ms. Boyd, yes, you want to give me like a time. You guys got to tell me, because I don't know how much time has passed. I don't have my watch or my cell phone. So I don't know how much time, but we'll just go. Okay, we'll go really quickly. So Bitcoin, as Hill said, is a scarce asset. So there'll only be 21 million of them ever created. And again, if we hold the majority of those coins, they're going to have to come to somebody to buy them. Again, 5 to 10 years is what we're looking at. So we want to just make sure that our community is playing chess in this space. I will tell you this, because we have clients that send their clients to us, because we can talk about Bitcoin, but if you work for Edward Jones or Morgan Stanley, you cannot talk about Bitcoin or they will fire you, because first of all, the brokerage doesn't get any commission, because this is a just a peer-to-peer thing. But not only that, they're really afraid of losing their footing in that whole financial services. So they send their clients to us, and I ear hustle everything. And I understand those clients coming in, they're being told to hold 30% of their portfolio in Bitcoin. They're not talking to them about other coins. They're talking to them specifically for wealth in reference to Bitcoin. And we don't even have $30. So high net worth clients, 30%, you go figure. They got $1 million to start. So if they're holding 30% of that in Bitcoin, we got some catching up to do. But so what we're telling people is just to stack. So that is one of the things. There are only going to ever be 21 million of these digital coins, and there's 43 million millionaires in the world. So there's not even enough Bitcoin for every millionaire to have it. So if we hold 1 million Satoshis, we're in the top 1% of the world as this thing gets going. And I'm talking about the entire world. So that's one of the things. Also with Bitcoin, people always ask me, is this stoppable? There is no way for anybody to stop it unless they get a hold of your Bitcoin and they take it from you. And that would be the only way they could do that is if you leave it at Bank of America or Chase and allow them to custody your Bitcoin. But this is not stoppable. They've tried. They're trying to figure this thing out. The world, I can't even think of what they're called. They're talking about getting their own digital currency. China's talking about their own digital currency. They're understanding that they got to get ahead of this thing. And that's why a lot of times they just cut their constituents off and say, you're forbidden to use this, but people are going to do it anyway. Just like in Nigeria, they're forbidden to have Bitcoin, but Bitcoin here is 39,000 a day. In Nigeria, it's like $75,000 for a Bitcoin, because they're buying it anyway and they're transacting. And one of the reasons a lot of the other countries are on the other continents are really into this is because they've never been able to trust their government. And so they understand what it's like already to be in a space where finally they can have their money and be in control of it and not have a central authority just cut them off and tell them, well, that's now worth, you got 50 million of those are now worth 2 cents. You see some of these signs. If you're looking on social media, somebody said, I was a billionaire yesterday and today I'm living under a freeway, because they had all their local currency that the government just devalued. And so people are understanding this all around the world. So Bitcoin is portable, very portable. You can take it anywhere in the world and turn it, if you need to, into their currency. But most people are just transacting in Bitcoin because they don't want to be in their local currency. So that's one of the other things. And we'll get into alternative coins. So we'll talk about everything other than Bitcoin. So as he stated, there are different coins for different things. So there's two that you'll hear all the time. That's Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's a bunch of others that you're going to hear, but I'm going to show you the difference between those two so that you understand why they're so different. So Bitcoin was designed to be money specifically, online money, period. Peer-to-peer, you can do whatever you need to do. Ethereum has this element in it, which Bitcoin has in it, but nobody's using it for that because we're doing the money thing. Ethereum is more of a smart contract. Ethereum allows for us, it's like a utility. So if you have a beautiful piece of art that you want to sell, you on the blockchain, on this technology, state that you're the owner of this thing, and you put it there, and then I have access to that art if I pay for that picture on there, and then it turns that picture over to me on the blockchain. So there's no real intermediary from here on out. The same thing with music. People are using the Ethereum protocol for these things called non-fungible tokens. Now there'll be other ways to buy these music massives and these other art pieces, but Ethereum specifically right now is what people are focusing on. So yes, you can today, and the price goes up to $300-$400 because the price is going art. Now I can buy his music because that is how it's listed. So I use that more. We use that more as a utility. Some people are just putting their money in there and saying, well, if everybody is going to need this for utility, then it'll eventually go up. Yes, it may. But then there's some problems with the Ethereum protocol that nobody's talking about. So you got to be very careful. Ethereum was supposed to do some upgrades and some more stuff, and we're waiting on those things. You wouldn't know that unless you're in the space. So then when you start looking at all these other coins, a lot of them are not decentralized, meaning somebody owns them and somebody's running it. Somebody's printing the coins or putting the coins on the blockchain. They're doing all this stuff. And when you sit in this space, which is why I am so adamant about us really researching and understanding that you either need to be investing in the cryptocurrency space for price. I say anything for wealth creation is Bitcoin, and anything over here is purpose. If your purpose is to buy art or music, then you do Ethereum. If your purpose is to support the black community, then you do Guap coin, because that's recycling black dollars. So if you never got any money back from that, you did it for a purpose, not because you were wealth creation. And the reason I say that, and not Guap, because I don't want anybody to take this out of context, I've seen a coin owner take his coin, figure out cap, had them pull back all those transactions. That is space. Bad actors to what I, as the community, need to be privy to some information that you'll hear and see, that I hear and see, because I get a lot of this before anybody because of the fact we have an exchange. People come to us with their ideas, or they come to us to list their coin, and we're not listing people's coin on purpose at our exchange. We're not going to be listing some of these coins on the Black Wall Street on purpose, because when it's all said and done and you've lost, because, and I stand here as a recovering coinaholic, 2017, I bought everything going, and 90% of those companies are no longer here. They've either disappeared with the money, or their exchange has disappeared with the money, or I'm locked out of it because I shouldn't have had no business on it in the first place, trying to get the next greatest coin coming along. So I want to really make sure that our community is understanding what we're, and it's still kind of even hard to say this, whatever you see on the Black Wall Street or my company, Crypto Blockchain Plug, selling, we're standing behind it for the purpose. So if it's something that's going to bring internet to our inner cities, because as quiet as it's kept, I'm down in Mississippi, some of these people don't even have internet. So I'm investing in cryptocurrency companies that are now saying internet is $5. So we can ping off these, those types of projects are what we're investing in for the purpose, not necessarily the price return. So I want to make sure we're clear on that. If you all have any questions about any coins or stuff that I've seen, I know somebody said they're in love with XRP. I've been at events with XRP, and they've been on the stage talking about the companies that they're working with in the banks, and the banks are sitting in the audience saying, we don't work with them. But you can say just about anything and make a beautiful website and have a beautiful white paper. A white paper is a thing that people put out in correlation to their coin, so it explains what their purpose is, what they intend to do, the timeline in which they intend to do it. But I will tell you that the owners of XRP have 3 beautiful over $40 million mansions in California. So you go figure what they're doing with all this money. But that's neither here nor there, because we get a bunch of people arguing about XRP, and especially our folks. Our folks be ready to fight us over XRP, and we don't own none of that. Just like we do just in a whole bunch of other stuff. We're champions for other people because we hope they're telling us the truth. But we need our community, and we've just decided to call a spade a spade. Dogecoin is fake. Elon Musk duped y'all. He's still duping y'all. And so even though you might make $5,000, $10,000, just understand there's tax ramifications that come along with that. And he's not buying Dogecoin. He's buying Bitcoin. And he told y'all to buy Dogecoin. So do as he does, not as he says in that respect. So there's just a whole lot of things that our community needs to know. Monday through Friday, I teach crypto virgins. I prayerfully will be back on after we leave Tulsa, Oklahoma for the centennial event. But we teach every day, Monday through Friday on Clubhouse. So if those of you who don't have Clubhouse, and even if you don't do Facebook, Clubhouse is a great place to go and get free information in this space. We have Bitcoin for baby boomers. We have a crypto kids camp. You name it, we're doing it for our community. We hope to come back here to put an actual location here so that we can catch our unbanked community as well, because you got to be banked, unfortunately, in this space in order to even acquire Bitcoin, unless you can come to a place like mine, and I'm in LA, so we want to put these all over the US. That's one of the things. So just be careful. You can make some money with altcoins. You all reach out to CJ, the smart guy. He is our crypto accountant. He can help you out. He did a phenomenal job on our taxes, both personal and business this year. My cell phone that you can reach out to me at, and you all can take the number. And I know they'll put it up on the screen, hopefully, because I'll say it a couple times and we can wrap up. But 424-317-7373. Again, 424-317-7373. And please don't leave till we get you this QR code so that you can get your free Satoshis once the app goes live on May 31st. It will drop the very second that 100 years ago, the first bomb dropped in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We will be there, and we just got to email you all are the first to hear that our office of the President of the United States will be in Tulsa for the event, and so that must mean, look, I'm speculating that Kamala will be there as well. I'm hoping she comes, but yeah, I do too. But we know for sure that he'll be there. So this is a monumental event, and again, we're going talking about what we're doing. And the other thing that Boyd gets to hear that nobody else has heard yet, you'll hear the press release that we have decided within our organization, the Black Wall Street, to give 1 million shares to the survivors of the Black Wall Street massacres. And this is the first time something has been done for that community. And so we want to make sure that they're taken care of as well. And so with that, I'm going to get Miss Boyd up, or Quasi. Quasi's going to give you, hold on one second. He's like, let me talk.
Now, one more time for Ms. Naja Roberts, y'all. One more time. And she is accessible. She just gave you her number. You can follow her on all of her social media platforms at Naja Roberts, Najah Roberts. Clubhouse. You have an Android, you can now join Clubhouse. Before, they didn't allow you to join via having an Android phone, but now it is open to Android users. Clubhouse, follow her. She gives free information away to the community every day, Monday through Friday. Crypto Version Hour on Clubhouse comes on 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, theblackwallstreet.com. Let's give her a nice round of applause again, Miss Naja Roberts. And again, we want to share our sincere gratitude to R.H. Boyd, Dr. LaDonna Boyd and her staff for allowing us to use the location to share this very important information. This is not a one-off. We are here to plant a seed and build a relationship. Yes, we want to come back. Yes, Miss Naja Roberts wants to set a brick and mortar Bitcoin exchange here. And hopefully we'll be able to partner with Miss Donna Boyd and her bank, Citizens Bank. So let's bring her back up. We're going to close out. Thank you guys once again. TheBlackWallStreet.com.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thanks to all of you for coming out today. I hope that you've enjoyed this wonderful conversation. And the best thing that you can do is go and share this knowledge. So make sure that you are spreading it amongst your family, your friends, your peers, your community, so that all of us can continue to learn more and to build wealth in the Black community. Thank you so much to Hill, to Naja, to Kwesi, to the RH Boy team. I've got several staff members here today, so thank you to everyone that made this event a success. And please feel free to grab some literature when you leave. We've got brochures here as well as some product up here for you. So please continue to subscribe to upcoming events. We've got a conference that we're hosting about Christian education called the Vision Conference starting June 16th. So you can get more information about that and other events like this at www.rhboyd.com, as well as our social media channels at RH Boyd Co. So with that, again, thank you, and everyone have a great night. Do you want to do some more giveaways? Perfect.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to come by with a QR code. The only thing you have to do is take your cell phone out. You're not taking a picture. You're just going to scan it. It's going to pull up a website, and you just register there. That lets us know that you were here so we can give you your free Satoshis. And then we also have T-shirts as well as bags. So just bear with us, and we'll get you going.